How to find your purpose in life. I was working in a burger van. I didn't think it was my purpose. I didn't think it was my passion. I didn't know why I was working in a burger van. I went to art college. I'm not doing anything to do with art right now. People ask me, how did I go to make millions of dollars and go traveling around the world and speaking on stages, sharing stages with people like Richard Branson? How do you do it? And how did you find that purpose? They say, I'm living my purpose today. And what I want to share with you, because I don't know what your background is, but what's really interesting is through life, we have multiple times where we think we have found our purpose, then it shifts. Just when we think we found it. And why does this happen? Why are we all here? This video, I want to break it all down for you guys, because when you find out exactly why you are here, what is our purpose? Do we have a common purpose? Are we all different? And where does our purpose and where do we find that passion, that desire, so that we can actually wake up every single morning and think, whoa, I'm alive? How do we actually find this type of purpose? And I want to share this with you with one powerful, life-changing technique that will take you to the success that you want in life. But before we get into it, show reel. Hit it.
People have today isn't that they're struggling, isn't that they can't get out of their shit. It's because the shit that they're in isn't big enough. And why I say that is because if that shit was big enough right now, if the people had a gun pointed to their head, they would actually get their ass moving. Always understand that emotions is what leads to motion. It's energy in motion. So if your emotional drive is not strong enough, you're not going to do anything to get out of it.
What's up guys, Eric Ho here, international speaker and entrepreneur. And in this video, I want to break it down for you guys, how to find your passion. If you think about it this way, whatever goal you have right now, okay, you think is your goal, whether that be a financial goal, whether that be in a relationship, or whether that be to do with anything, that you want in your career, whatever that be for you right now, that goal. What's really interesting is this. Most likely, right, 80-90% of you, when you hit that goal, you'll be happy for a moment. And then what will happen is life will kind of get the better out of you and you kind of think, why am I here? What next? What do I do? Then what will happen? You'll set another goal. Then when you hit that goal, most likely what you'll do is you'll set another goal. You'll hit another goal, then you'll set another goal, and then you go chasing all of your life to get to the end of your life. And let me tell you one thing I know for sure is that the biggest regret that people have lying on their deathbed is not saying, hey, I wish I set another goal and chased for another so-called purpose. But instead, most people think, I wish I had just lived. Or I wish I just spent more time with family. I wish I found my purpose even. And so why does this thing happen to the majority of people in this world? And it happened to me too. I was 24. I was standing in a restaurant and I had stood in that restaurant for 3 years. Same spot at the till, taking bills after bills after bills. My dad told me, Eric, you're a college dropout. You got no qualifications. What are you going to do with your life? Apart from working in a restaurant. And what did I do? Work in a restaurant. I thought that was my purpose. I could still be there right now if I didn't find what I'm going to share with you in this video. If I didn't find actually what is life all about? How do we actually go about finding that thing? We need to understand a few things first of all. Whatever goal you have right now, whatever purpose you have right now, that purpose is not your purpose, it's not your goal. We only have, and those of you who are used to my videos, make sure to comment below and type this message in. Remember, those of you who are new to my channel, we always type the learnings below because we take the learnings on a deeper level, right? Word holds vibration, the action holds vibration, everything holds vibration. So what I want you to understand is we can only set a goal based on what we know. Now, what does this mean? It means that we can only set our goal based on what we know, but what we know comes from our surroundings, our upbringing, comes from people who raised us up, our parents, our teachers. And if that is so, then our goals might not be our goals. It's just because some people have told us what we should and shouldn't do, who we should and shouldn't be, how we should and shouldn't act. And then that becomes a part of us, and we think that is our purpose, that is our goal. And that's why when I went through this whole restaurant journey and I found actually, I don't enjoy this. Why did I think restaurant was my goal? I opened multiple restaurants and I was left unfulfilled so far that I fell into deep depression. Deep depression to a point where I didn't even want to be here anymore. How did I manage to get out of that is when that moment I went out to Kenya. I did a volunteer trip. And I want you to understand one thing. If you want to find your purpose, the most important thing is to open up that mind, to be able to see more. Right? There's this saying you only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. And the biggest problem is this. What we know is this much. What we don't know that we don't know is this much. Meaning that there's a lot of possibilities out there that we have no idea even exists right now. 6 years ago, if you told me, you say, Eric, you're going to be an international speaker, I would have laughed in your face. Why? It's because I was the quiet boy in school. I couldn't even put my hand up in a classroom, never mind speak on stages in front of thousands of people all around the world. But how do we actually dive into that unknown? How do we find it? The first key is to take yourself out of context. I want you to type that below. Take yourself out of context. What does that mean? It means you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to get into the uncomfortable. You need to get into an unfamiliar environment. And that's what I did when I went out to Kenya. That's why we set up the charity. And by the way, I just want a quick note here. We got a charity volunteer trip coming up in a few months' time to Kenya. So I'm going to be there. So if you're actually interested in joining me out there, I'm going to put a link on this video. It's hgiving.com. You can actually join me out there. We have a good time together. There's an application form. You just fill it in, and then our team will speak to you in terms of how to get involved. But it's really life-changing. Why? Because you take yourself so far out of context, out of your own comfort zone, somewhere that you're not used to. Your mind thinks differently. I don't know if you've ever had this moment before where you take yourself out of context, take yourself out of your everyday living of swiping your phone, going on Facebook, going on YouTube. Instead, just switch off. I call it tuning out to tune in, because you tune into a different frequency at that point. So you take yourself out of context. And when you're out of context, sitting on top of a mountain, out somewhere else, sometimes you get all these creative ideas and thoughts. And you think, where does that come from? Right? It comes from a different source. It comes from a different channeling. Why? Because you have taken yourself out of context. You've allowed your mind to expand and be open for this intelligence to come in. It's a real fascinating thing. Right? But you need to, first step, take yourself out of context. Then you will see more. Then once you see more, you need to actively take action in those moments. You need to follow your gut feeling, or sometimes I like to call God feeling. Right? That intuition, because think about it. In our lives, you want to understand how to live with purpose and find your purpose. Your purpose is to follow your calling. Now, I know some of you logical-minded people will be like, what's this on about calling, right? Let me tell you something. You may not believe it, but you've experienced it before. We have two parts of us when it comes to decision making. We go into an opportunity, or we're faced with a left and right turn, Which turn do we take in life? Which one do we pick? Right? Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a job, whatever it is you do, you're faced with this T-junction you get to, and you're like, which side do I go? And what will happen is, a lot of the time, you will have what you call the logic mind and the intuition, the gut feeling, what some people call it. Now, gut feeling cannot be explained by anybody. Where the gut feeling comes from. You say logic comes from your mind, right? Where does gut feeling come from? It's a feeling. Sometimes against all logic, you feel this desire to really want to do something, and you don't know why. And your logic is saying, no, this is the wrong decision, but you just really want to do it anyway. You want to dive into it. And a lot of the time when you dive into it, you find that's the most fascinating thing ever in your life. It's the most magical experience. Why? Because that intuition, That calling, that voice, that feeling is your purpose. So what does this mean? Your ability to know how to shut off the logical mind. And by the way, I want to say this. Understand this. Your logic mind is not so logical. Your logic is not your logic. You only know what you know based on your surrounding, based on what people have told you. So what does this mean? It means your logic is in fact other people's analysis and other people's logic, what they think is logic, which is probably somebody else's logic. And so it's not so logical. But if you dare to shut off that voice, that little voice we have in our head, and some of you will be thinking, no, I don't have a little voice, that's the little voice we're talking about. If you dare to shut that little voice, that logical, not so logical mind that you have, and follow your heart, follow that gut feeling or that God feeling, and take actions in those points, your purpose will be revealed before you. That's how I live on a day-to-day basis, right? And as my good friend Tim Han would say from Success Insider, follow your heart and take action. Very, very important. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the thumbs up, give us a like, and do comment below. Let me know where you guys have tuned in from. It's always nice to know. And finally, remember, hit that subscribe button and the notifications button next to it, because I'm dedicated to making daily videos of positivity, inspiration, business, spirituality, anything positive to keep you in line to make 2018 your best year yet. But for now, ciao.